Hi, this is James from Tabletop Gaming Guild, and today we're going to look at the 1 to 4 player game Everdell, published by Starling Games. Let's go ahead down to the table here. I'm going to give you a general idea how to play the game, and then we'll come back and I'll give you my final thoughts. Okay, so this is what a typical setup of Everdell might look like. Now, I'm not going to go over all the rules. I'm just going to give you a general gist on how to play the game. To set up, you're going to take the number of players you have, and the first player is going to get 5 cards, the second player is going to get 6 cards, third player is going to get 7 cards, and fourth player is going to get 8 cards. So just get one more card than the next player. You're going to give them 2 meeples, I guess, in their player color, and you're going to put the rest up on top of this tree here. I'll show you what that means in a second. You will also shuffle up these cards here, and there's a good bit of them, and place these action spaces out wherever it says for the number of players on here. For a full player count, you're going to have all 4 out. Then you're going to put out 4 different goals throughout the game. Shuffle up through this deck here, which is pretty large for the different goals. Place out all your resources and place out an array of cards to choose from or to purchase from throughout the game. These things here, this is the die you can roll to see who goes first. These are point chips, and here are little doors that I'll show you what they do in a second. You're going to play the game through over 4 seasons. Winter, spring, summer, autumn, and falls for scoring. But anyway, so what you're going to do to start the game is you're going to take one of your 2 workers and you can place it out somewhere on the board. You can also build. So this is going to be your starting hand of cards, and there's a couple different things you're going to look at your cards. One is going to be the resources it's going to cost to play it and what it does. You can have up to 15 of these cards down in your player area. That's the max for your city. You can either have people or you can have places down. And they all do different things, and they have different symbols. This is going to be their type. And what you're going to do is you're going to go to these different spots and gather resources. Now, if it has this little open area on the bottom here, any number of players that are different can go to this spot. If it's closed like this, only 1 can per round, or, well, rounds are a little different on here, but only 1 can at a time. So when you go there, you're going to get whatever it says for the resources. You can go to these 4 different spaces, which are going to be your unique action spaces per game that get shuffled out. You can go to these different festival places here, and I'll explain what those do in a second, and or you can claim one of these goals. And the goals are all different. You're going to probably want to read these before the game starts to see how you want to try to do it. If you have these 2 people, this monk in the place, the monk in the dungeon, in your city, you can claim this, and this will give you 3 points at the end of the game. So when you claim these different resources or different things, like some of these will give you cards and a point. This will give you sap and a card. I'm not sure if this was sap, but I'm just going to call it sap. This place will give you 3 wood. This place will give you 3 wood and a card. This place here will let you copy a basic location. These are basic locations, and give you a card. So all different things in these different spaces. You can also go to some of these unique spaces here and discard cards for points. So if you go to this 5 spot, you'll have to discard 5 cards to get 5 points, and those are little point markers too. Or you can go here to cycle through some cards. You may discard any cards from your hand. For every 2, you gain 1 good of your choice. Alright, so once you gain some resources, you can do 1 of 2 different things before the end of your turn. You can build one of these things. So you can build it from your hand, so you can take the goods and build it from hand. Or you can build it from this array right here. When you build a place on your turn, so let's say I build a sparrow and I put it in my play area, some have immediate effects, some don't, but you read the card and you do the thing, and then you just flip over a new card from the tree here and place it in there. Like I said, you can only have up to 15 places in your tableau. Once you meet that, you can't build any more places. Now, there are some places in this game here that let you destroy some of your, or build over top of some of your cards in your tableau. Some of them give you resources and whatnot. But one other thing I also wanted to point is one of the goals in your game is you're going to try to pick up these guys. If you put your animeeple, I guess, on one of these guys, you will gain it. It'll come over to your area and you gain 3 points. What you have to do to get these ones is you have to have cards in your area with the icon with a quantity on here. So you have to have 3 of the little wandering icon, 4 of the harvest icon. I'm not sure if those are the right names for those 3 of the animals and 3 of the scrolls. But once you have that, you can claim that on your turn. First person to claim it gets it. The other things I was going to mention is some of them help with production. Like if you get some of these harvest ones here, where it has this little activate symbol, when you place it in your city, you're going to get this ability. And then when you do one of these harvest phases, and you see there's 2 different harvest phases, and you're like, well, how do you do that? Well, once you decide that you don't want to do any more actions with what you have, you've either used up all your resources or you just decide you just don't want to do anything anymore, you have all your people out or whatnot, you can move on to the next season. When you move on to the next season, you're going to be able to get your little meeple from that season, and you'll get to do what it says on here. Like here you get your +1 worker, plus you also get to fire off all the little harvest spots. So anything that you've built in your tableau that has that icon I showed you, you get the stuff, which can be quite a bit. And you will continue doing this until you finish all these 3 seasons. Once that's done, you're going to finish out your turns, whatever you want to do, and then you end your game. So that means that you can end your game before other players, or other players can end before you. It's not all that bad because it all ends up be about the same, and it's really interesting in seeing what your other opponents do. So it's not a bad thing. Other games do it like Tapestry. But another thing I wanted to point out too is some of the buildings, like this inn, is nice because when you place down this inn, you can place your worker on here, which is not the only card that does it. A lot of buildings do this, so I'm just using this as an example. You place down this building, anyone could place their worker on there, including you. If someone opponent does, you'll actually get a point every time they do it, which is really, really nice. And some of these abilities are pretty cool. Like this one here, you can play a critter or construction from the meadow, that area, for 3 fewer resources, which is super awesome. There's a lot of really cool stuff that you can do throughout the game. That's basically what you're going to be doing. You're just going to be building your tableau, so your little area of 15 cards, trying to get as much points as possible. You either get points from the cards themselves, or doing the different actions, or claiming the goals, or claiming these different festival spots. And the person with the most points at the end of the game wins. So that's basically how you're going to play Everdell. Let's go head back up to the table here, and I'll give you my final thoughts on this game. So I really like Everdell. Everdell is a great game to introduce to people that are new to the hobby. It's relatively easy to explain. It has an amazing table presence. The component quality is great. The only thing I can complain about the game for component qualities is actually the tree. The tree is super awesome, but if you don't have all the players lined up in front of it, it's going to be hard to really see some of the stuff on the board because it's huge. It does obstruct it. I really like the worker placement aspect of the game and all the different choices that you can get. I love the choices between building the different buildings and placing the different workers out. I love the player interaction in with taking the different spaces on the board, or the skunk, which will give negative points to the other player if they don't remove it from their game. I like and I really appreciate the cards like the University, which allows you to trash cards in your tableau that you've placed to get the resources back, plus a bonus resource so you can improve them. Also, that nasty skunk, you can get rid of that if you get that -1 skunk in your area. And I was originally put off by the fact that other players could finish before others, but it really doesn't seem to be that much difference, and it seems to be fine. So you can go through the 3 different seasons, and then at the end of the last season, once you've completed all your stuff, you're done, and you just tally up your points. Now that you could think, well, okay, well, I might be sitting there for a while. Not really. Everyone else pretty much ends at the same time. It is also a very interesting game, so it's pretty interesting watching and taking a look of what other people have built or are doing while you are done. Not that takes very long. So the one concern I had with the game isn't really a concern, where you can end before others. Other games do it well, like this. Like Tapestry does it well too, where you can end before other players. So that's good. The cards are always really cool with the different abilities that you have on there. I love all the art throughout the game. And those squishy little berries that come in the game are amazing little components for that. The other thing is that for some of these resources, I do wish more came with the box, because you can run out on there, and you don't really run out. You have to use a substitute. But again, not very many complaints for this game. Wonderful, wonderful game. If you're looking for a good worker placement game that gives a lot to think about, and it's very beautiful, this game is probably a game you want to check out. It's definitely going to stay in my collection. It's going to be a game that I'm going to bring out any chance that I get. So that's my thoughts on Everdell. Thank you for watching.